In on this, political commentator. Hey, Evan, good to see you. Your thoughts on this? First of all, Trump saying, nope, there's not going to be any sequel.
First of all, I love the segue from Timberlake to Trump, from Sag Harbor to potentially sagging polls. We'll get to that. Look, Donald Trump had a bad debate. Even on Fox News, you had chief political analyst Brit Hume saying he had a bad night. Polls show about 65% of folks say he had a bad night. That doesn't matter for the base of his support. The MAGA base is immune to controversies, immune to anything that happens to Donald Trump. But you got to think of it in terms of floors and ceilings. Donald Trump has a high political floor. In other words, his base support, the MAGA support, is very high and keeps him competitive and makes this race a toss-up, immune to the controversies about cats and dogs and immigrants and whatever other thing, post-birth abortions. It doesn't matter the lies and the untruths. They're immune to it. The question is, what's his ceiling? In other words, can he grow? The concern in the Trump camp is the floor is high, but the ceiling's low. For Kamala Harris, the floor is probably lower. Under Joe Biden, they had a much lower floor. She's raised that, but her potential ceiling is higher. Can she motivate the get out the vote? Early voting starting in many states right now and very soon. So you get an endorsement from Taylor Swift that can register 400,000 young voters. That can raise her ceiling up. The salience on issues like abortion, a good debate, which got fundraising going. Her ceiling's high. I'm not surprised Donald Trump does not want another debate. This one did not go well.
So why not take another opportunity, to try and right the ship here? I mean, doesn't he run the risk of looking like he's, well, I'll be blunt here, chickening out?
Well, look, Donald Trump, that was his 7th presidential debate going back to 2016. That was her first one. He had experience. She doesn't, and she won. Now, I guess there's 2 answers to that. Number one, maybe he just thinks he's going to lose again. Maybe his handlers are like, we can't control this guy. Can you imagine? Remember, the goal was to be like he was in the first Biden debate, which was calmer, letting the other person back into a corner, put her on her back foot on immigration, back foot on inflation, back foot on security. Those are all sword issues. And debates are about back foot, front foot. Turns out she was on the front foot in all those. So on one hand, maybe the handlers are like, this guy cannot take advice. He's going to reduce himself back to his rally rants about, immigrants eating cats and dogs that do not help him. On the other hand, it may be that he's so insular right now inside his own social media bubble that he believes he won the debate. This is what he's saying. He's saying, I won so badly, only losers want another debate. And that's why he's saying it. So he's either insulated from the reality of what really happened, or his handlers think that went badly, it will go badly again. Better for us to just let him be himself out on the stump.
Yeah, I got to ask you, while we've got you here with us, Evan, what you made of the debate. You mentioned the cats and dogs. That's getting a lot of traction, but there was a lot of other stuff in there. What struck you?
I think Donald Trump's initial mistake was the fatal flaw of setting low expectations. Canadians will remember back in 2015, the Conservatives said, if Justin Trudeau shows up with his pants on properly, he'll have exceeded expectations. Well, Justin Trudeau was really well prepared for the debate, and he won it, and he won a majority that cycle. But the expectations were so low that anyone with a pulse could have overachieved them. Donald Trump, for weeks leading up to the debate, said Kamala Harris is a DEI hire. She's dumb. She's incapable. He talked her down. Well, of course, she's very prepared. She's a prosecutor. She's a senator. She's a former attorney general. And so she well exceeded expectations. So if you're a swing voter, and this is about 7 states, you're like, gosh, I guess she was a terrible vice president. I don't know anything. She seems dumb, all the stuff that they'd heard. And then they looked at her. It's like, wait a second. She was really intelligent. She spoke well. She was commanding. She didn't wilt in front of a strong man. So 1, she exceeded expectations. 2, she was on the front foot. She didn't look vulnerable on the border, on Afghanistan, and on the economy. And she had a hard task, which is to both champion the Biden record and distance herself from it. And she did that. So I thought, look, the debate could not have gone better for Kamala Harris. The real question, though, is does it matter? Does a debate translate into votes in the 7 swing states? And again, that's a toss-up. We just don't know yet if that, but we do know things like the Taylor Swift endorsement does get out the vote and up registration. Now, when data shows that when people register to vote, Todd, this close to an election, about 80% of them actually turn out voting. And there's lots of studies on that kind of stuff. So it is interesting. She won on fundraising. She won on enthusiasm. So good debate for Kamala Harris.